Hi, and welcome to the first video of the basics for the Cytobank platform. I want to briefly walk you through the experiment manager to show which information we can find in the experiment summary page, how simple it is to share your data inside Cytobank, and then I'll also show how to clone an existing experiment or to upload data to a new one. We will also start to curate our data, setting up skills, and learning how to create a compensation matrix in the Cytobank platform. So when you first log into the Cytobank platform, you're presented with a screen where you see all the experiments you have access to. If you have a brand new account, you'll see only the experiments with a little globe right next to them. This means that these experiments are visible to everybody on the server. Inside the experiment manager, you can also search for a specific experiment. If you know the name, just type it on the bar in the top. And you can also decide to see, for instance, all the experiments that have an advanced analysis, such as a Disney run in there. Also, you can decide to search for your experiments or the experiments that have been shared with you. As we begin our tour into the Cytobank platform, I also want to show you the experiment summary page. This is a great way to see everything contained inside of an experiment and a good way to make sure that you can see any attachments that are there and any saved figures. So to get there, click on an experiment and click on Experiment Summary on the top blue line. Here, you can see the experiment name or change it, the experiment purpose, any linked experiments or linked analysis, all the illustrations that have been made, and you can also make a new one from here, all the advanced analysis like a Disney run, and all the FCS files that we have there with sample tags, funnel assignments, number of events, and sample size. So if you're happy with an experiment and you want to share it with, let's say, your PI, or you need some support from our support staff, click on Share, insert Cytobank support, you're done. Also, you can make your experiment public by clicking on that link. So if you want to start playing around with some of our data, choose an experiment and then you can click on Clone. To clone your own copy, you'll then have to choose a lot of options on what you want to take with you into your new experiment. Either just the FCS files, or also gates, sample tags, illustration, compensation, file panels, or also attachments and protocols. If you want to make a full clone, just click on Select All. You can decide to change the name, the experiment name, and submit clone. When done, the experiment will show up in your inbox. If you want to upload your own new data, click on New Experiment on the top left corner. Give the experiment a name and a purpose. So ideally, a couple of sentences about where the samples came from, what the intention was, and how you processed them. When done, click on Create the Experiment. You'll be presented with a screen where you can drag and drop any FCS compliant file, or if you need to search for them, click on Add Files to search your computer for. Click on Upload Files. When the FCS files have finish to upload, you'll be presented with a landing page that will guide you through all the further steps needed for the curation of our data in order to pre-process the data so that you can then perform any of our advanced analyses. As you can see, the first step is to adjust your scales. To do so, click on the right-hand corner on Scales. This will open a light box where we can see a list of all the channels that are in your experiments. Also the channel type, the argument, minimum and maximum for each channel. The type of each channel can be set to linear, logarithmic, or signage, which is very similar to the exponential hyperlog and lets you look at linear and logarithmic scales data on the same axis. Argument is very similar to a cofactor and tells you what area around 0 you'd like to be linearly scaled. And lastly, you can also change minimum and maximum for each channel. It is very important to make sure all of your data is well scaled because the algorithms will use the scale type described here in the setting page. Also, if the scale type is set to R signage, it is very important to make sure that your scale argument is set correctly. If you see any kind of symmetry around 0, anything that looks like a butterfly or 2 raindrops, that could be an indication that you need to increase your scale argument so that the algorithms don't artificially see 2 populations. When done, click on Close, and you'll go back to the previous landing page. Next step in our curation of data is to set the experiment compensation. To do so, click on Compensate, and you'll have several choices. If you want to create a new matrix, click on New. Choose the channels that you want to be included in your matrix. Click on Create Compensation, and you'll be presented with your matrix where you can manually insert the values for each channel. Keep in mind that in the Cytobank platform, the default internal compensation is the default. So if you compensate at the instrument, you don't have to worry about that. If you prefer to import a compensation from an experiment, click on Import and you'll be able to choose from which experiment. Also, you can upload any CSV file generated in other programs. Or if you want to make an automatic compensation, again, choose the channels that you want to be involved, and then you'll be asked to assign a positive and a negative control to each channel. Click on Calculate Compensation, and you're done. You will then be asked to assign sample tags to each file and to revise the panel assignment. At the end, you can move to the gating editor or to create an illustration, or you can run any advanced analysis. For any of those steps, please visit the other videos in this page.